with the 30 days to quit or whatever it is. But I think that's kind
know
of
what I
cool.
mean. Like, then do you try to go support the candidate he endorsed?
In an ideal world, yeah. A lot of these people already have their own consultants, and it gets a little, elbows kind of get thrown in the consulting world. But that's kind of a fun anecdote, I think.
So why is that? Is it because there's so much weight in a Trump endorsement?
There's a lot of weight in a Trump endorsement, but also you just don't want to work against
the leader,
the Trump world or the movement.
Like
if you
he
will,
is
right?
the America First. He started the America First movement. So now,
if he's going to throw his support behind someone, and then his surrogates and they're all going to coalesce behind a candidate. You don't want to work against that and splinter the party further or splinter the. I'm among the mindset when President Trump endorses someone, everyone else in the primary race should drop out.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of where our party's at, and I think, you don't beat a Trump endorsement. So
how many? I know we're not trying to go too far into this, but how many candidates are running for governor in Arizona right now?
There is five.
And
only 5. A lot of have dropped out.
Well,
yeah, I was going to say
technically, I think there's like 20 something.
Yeah, technically
filed, but 5 what would be called, viable, quote unquote, viable candidates.
How many of those are Republican?
Well, I mean,
or are they
the
5
5 in the primary, yeah.
Gotcha.
5 in the primary, and then on the Democratic side, you've got 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And their primary is kind of crazy too.
And they're going down anyway. So,
So in the last couple weeks, big story right now is Trump really pushing that he saved the world with the vax, right? Like, it's one of the biggest.
This is a good topic. It's controversial.
No, it is because it's one of the biggest gifts to all mankind. I love Trump, but I have, listening to this, knowing that I'm totally against it. I think it's a joke. It's the only thing I think I've really ever truly disagreed. What's your take on him running and what that looks like for, because there's such a huge divide here now. That's a big thing. Like, a lot of people will say, I don't want any part of that.
I mean, if somehow I had his ear or Trump world ear, I would just say, stay away from that. But when it comes to that, credit where credit's due. I mean, the funny thing is like the leftists will, vax. You got to get vax. Booster. And then as soon as you mention, Trump is the one that, quote unquote, gave us this vaccine,
right,
they don't want to talk about that.
Right.
But it's tribalism on both sides.
Sure.
And it's become, probably it would be best if the whole vaccine never became politicized, but now it has. I mean, you do you. Get it or don't get it.
Yeah.
I think
the one thing about Trump that I love is he is more like, just do what you want to do, even though he's a fan of it.
I'm not a genius politically, and the consultant here can chime in on this. But what I think I'm hearing him say is he's never going to trash it because he came out with it, right? It's him. But he's not. He does not support mandates, and he continues to say, "Yeah, I got the vax. It's no big deal, but no one should be forced." It's like he's never going to trash it because it came out on his watch,
Speed.
Yeah.
But he's not, I would say, it doesn't seem to me like he's forcing it. It seems to me like the really far-right conservatives want to throw him under the bus that he's forcing it. But the things he's
not
saying,
forcing it, though.
He's not even really endorsing it. He's saying, I got my booster.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone should choose. Yes.
Choice.
It's like he's trying really hard, and a lot of people say this. It's not what Trump says, it's how he says it, right? It's like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. Like, I'm not listening to everything Trump says, but he is just saying, I got my booster. And everyone should be able to choose.
He finally came in, and we had someone that just really turned the light on, and all the what is it? All the bugs scattered. I mean, he just he ripped the Band-Aid off of the entire political apparatus that's been controlling. I mean, people that get offended by his tweets or his manner. He's a New Yorker. He's a brute guy. That's his brand.
Right. And
would you rather have someone like Barack Obama that lies to you eloquently?
Ooh.
Right.
Ooh, okay, this is one of my favorite Brady quotes. That I would rather have a sloppy truth teller, sounds a little mean, a little gruff, a little rough, than an eloquent liar.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest difference.
Yep. And the problem with everyone being so obsessed with Trump's tweets is it made him authentic. He said what was on his mind. If you didn't like it, be offended all you want, but that's about it.
They had to take him off of Twitter.
Yeah, and they didn't even
doing something right.
Yeah, they didn't even have to. Twitter's communist crazy people, like big tech owned whatever. But so you're offended. Like that's That's all you get.
You know what? Wouldn't you rather have the leader of the free world tweeting you the truth straight from his mind and mouth than through, like you said, 10 consultants
right,
that are telling him?
I want to say something, but I better not because it might offend people. No, thank you. I'd rather you say what you're thinking so that I know exactly who you are.
And where you stand.
And you could tell the difference between a speech, because his speeches were just great and they were off the cuff, and then any other politician. And now that we've had Trump, you can really recognize the difference between authentic politician, quote unquote, and just like everyone.
Like Biden reading off the monitor.
End of speech. Yeah. When he reads end of speech.
They all give these cooked up. You can tell when you listen to almost every politician, you can tell it's written by a consultant. You can tell it's this. They're all the same. Once you've heard one political speech, you've heard them all. When he was on stage with 17 other Republicans, it was him, the businessman, and then all these politicians, and they all sounded the same. And so he stood out, and he won the primary, and he went on to become the greatest president of a lifetime. My favorite Trump moment is when he was debating Hillary, and she said something like, "This wouldn't happen if I were president."
Or if you'd be in jail.
He goes, "Yeah, you'd be in jail," and just walks away like
the best.
Like he literally dropped the mic.
Yes.
But see,
so I have a question for Colton, because here we are.
Say that. They'd be like, "I better consult."
But I have to
before
challenge
I make a joke.
this because he is helping Carrie.
Yeah.
So you're saying that like everything she says is off the cuff, straight from the heart. Just authentic. It's almost like she did it for 3 decades too. I mean, going into this, she obviously can speak. Yeah, she's great. It makes me wonder if we need more TV personalities to run for office. You think about Donald Trump and Carrie Lake and some of these communicators. Ronald Reagan. Yes, the great communicator. He was an actor. Yeah, he was an actor and a Democrat activist at one point in his life. It's almost like our country thirsts for people to come onto the scene and be able to effectively communicate an idea, effectively communicate a set of values, as opposed to just the generic consultant talk, the generic political talk that we've gotten for decades. Right. Well, and I hate that, too, that being a politician, up until, I believe, right before Trump, has always been about your political resume. Oh, and it's like, so you're a career politician. Awesome. That's like the last thing we need. Well, no, and then the freaking America elected community organizer. Yeah. America elected Trump, a non-politician. We're done with lifelong politicians. I think we are too. I think we're going to start electing before we ever start caring about a resume again. Right. I actually believe, and I know you guys do too, is our founding fathers. That's what they had in mind. Like farmers, teachers. Farmer coming in from the community as leaders in the community to lead, serve. The word serve with authority, and then move on and let someone else serve. Yeah. But serving your community, serving your people. And you should be serving in an area where you have the authority to speak. For example, homeboy in Scottsdale Unified School District, go away, dude. Yeah. 26 with no kids. You don't have authority over other people's kids, and you shouldn't be. But you know what? That goes back to when we were at Godspeak Church and we were listening from David Barton. You guys, I cannot emphasize enough to please, please, please go listen to some David Barton videos, because he explains the way our country was built on faith and our founding fathers, how they came from faith, and that all the Revolutionary War was won not, by this church saying not here, this street saying not here, this town saying not here. It doesn't get won with us sitting on our phones, looking at Washington, watching Joe Biden mumble through a speech. It does not. We do not change the world that way. We change the world by actually putting down our phones, having conversation with our kids, not letting them get indoctrinated 7 hours a day, going to our school board meetings so that these punks like this 26-year-old is not leading the charge. We are all guilty. We are all guilty of letting this happen. Yep. So it became complacent. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Americans we just believe. We've been taught like we're so cush. Okay. There's an apathy here. And if you have done what Brandy and I have both just agreed to doing, voting Republican down the ballot or whatever, or can admit I've never been involved in any of my kids' school things, you are forgiven because we were not all awake. Yes. Now we're all awake and you have no freaking excuse. Now if you don't get involved, you're not doing your freaking part. Period. Yeah, I agree. That hurts? I'm sorry. And every single time guys, and there's people that I love that have gotten the jab very much, love them very much. This is the truth, though. If you don't believe in what you're doing and you're doing it, you're making it harder on every single person from here on out. I'm sorry, you're hurting the movement if you're doing something you don't really believe in.
There is never a better time to say, if you are not for us, you're against us. Like, we are fighting.
That literally was a download from God into my brain when I asked God whether my ministry should get political. It was literally a walk I took with God saying, Father, because I was getting pushback, do I go there? Because how do I not? This is the elephant in the room. How do we not talk about it? I asked God, do I get political in this ministry space? Literally, that came into my mind, that it was not my own. If right now in this space and time, this is good versus evil. The Bible is all over it. We're looking at Revelations, people putting microchips in their hands to buy milk at the grocery store that say they're vaccinated. You guys, this is end time Revelation stuff here. So that's exactly what came into my mind. If you're not for us, you're against us.
And some of it really isn't, we call it political. Some of it's not political as much as it is the culture war. And that's something that I think we need to do a better job of separating between policy, political talk, and the culture war. And conservatives have done a horrible job over the past few decades of just kind of being complacent in the culture war, ignoring the culture war. We were so worried about the marginal tax rate and lowering the corporate tax rate, and we were so worried about fighting socialism, this boogeyman that's socialism, that we woke up one day and we've got men and women's restrooms and the gender thing's confusing, and we've got our kids so confused. The culture war, and it goes back to what you're saying about, your ministry getting involved in that. I don't know if that's as much political as much as it is just...
Yeah, just because the Democrats adopted a support for it doesn't make it a democratic policy. It makes it an amoral social policy. You know?
Exactly.
It's true.
That's culture war. It's a demonic culture war impeding on morality. And if you look at the 10 Commandments, look at every single one of them. Every single one of them is being attacked right now. You can go and steal, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Yep. But if you don't wear a mask in a restaurant,
you get slapped by your flight attendant. Woo! I've been almost there. Trust me.
Oh
my gosh. What a great episode, Colton. Thank you. Thank you for the calendar. My husband's going to be a wee bit jealous. He's fully clothed, folks. All right, guys. Follow us on Instagram at She's So Right Show. Shop our Patriot products at she'ssowrightshow.com. And Colton, thank you so much.
Thank
you, Colton. It was a blast. We'll have you back in the spring when things are heating up in the election.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
God bless you all.
God bless America.
It's Dylan's KC Barbecue at 4 Valley locations. Our sports bar in Arrowhead is packed with TVs for the ultimate sports fan. Our Wildlife World Zoo location will have you on the edge of your seat, dining right next to our 60,000-gallon shark tank. Dylan's Bayou at Pleasant Harbor has never-ending sunsets, beautiful people, and live music every weekend. And our newest location, Western Trails Ranch, is 12 acres of rodeo fun and live outdoor concerts for the entire family. It's Dylan's KC Barbecue, where we're elite, unique, and memorable.